This is the second season of Beauty and the Beast on Mondays on the CW TV, 8 p.m. Central. Tell me about your role.
Well, I played JT Forbes, who's best friend and confidant to Vincent Keller, who is...
That's the Beast.
The Beast, who is the Beast.
The Beast.
Big bad Beast. And, JT Forbes, one part comic relief, but what makes him so interesting as a character for me to play is that he's not only loyal, overly courageous for what he's able to actually do, and he's also multi-talented. He's able to, he's a biochemistry professor, so he's able to mix and analyze DNA and serums, and also he could hack pretty much any computer site program that they need to, so he provides that type of stuff. He's also been known to build some explosives.
You have superhuman abilities, too.
Right. Just mainly, it's like I'm the white-collar beast, and JT's the white-collar beast, and Vincent's the blue-collar beast.
How did the Beast become the Beast?
As presented in the pilot, it was a government experiment to make super soldiers that had gone horribly wrong post 9/11. So Vincent Keller's brothers died in the towers, and he enlisted to go off to war in Afghanistan, and became part of this elite force called Muirfield that ran this program, and they were injected with a combination of steroids, hormones that altered their DNA to give them the traits of a number of different species of animals. We're actually venturing into a deeper mythology. The implication is possibly that Vincent might have already been destined to be a beast.
There's something happening there. And he gets that superhuman strength when he becomes angered.
Yeah, angered. He also, as he's evolved as this beast and his DNA has mutated, he's gotten more powers, and he's actually gotten more in control of his powers. And this season, in particular, the first 8 episodes and into the next half of the season, Vincent is actually struggling with the beast taking over his life, because his abilities, are almost overwhelming him to the point where he has to make decisions as a human to say, I maybe have beast powers, but I have to draw the line somewhere, and that's where Catherine the Beauty comes in and is trying to hang on to his humanity and the human side of the beast, and so that plays out throughout the rest of the season.
Well, this is a nice show. It's a fun show.
Yeah.
And you're using comedy or whatever. You're trying to keep the beast calmed down, I'm sure, right? You don't want him to go wild.
Well, like I said, JT is used in many facets of looking out for the beast. He has this almost blind loyalty towards Vincent in helping him in every way that he needs. They also have medical experience, and because they lived off the grid, so when this experiment went awry in Afghanistan 10 years ago, 11 years ago, the government wiped it out, and so technically no one was supposed to have survived, and Vincent was supposed to have died in Afghanistan. That's what everyone thought, and he came back to JT, and they've been living off the grid for going on the better part of 10 years.
Oh, you got a real close bond then with the beast.
So yeah, we've been best friends, almost like brothers. Grew up together, and so he came back, and I've worn JT has worn many hats, protecting Vincent and caring for him, and analyzing, seeing if they could potentially cure him of this.
Because of your abilities with making serums and things, so you can try different things. Well, going to the needle. You have diabetes, don't you? Type 1?
Yeah, type 1 diabetic, right before I turned 9, 2 weeks before my 9th birthday.
Oh, what a birthday present.
I know. And on top of it, I'm smiling saying this because it's actually in my scope of humor. It's actually... Everything comes with a grain of salt, but my dad owned a candy store at the time that I was diagnosed.
You had a sweet tooth there.
Well, it wasn't because, it was...
No, it's not at all.
Type 1 is genetically predisposed, so...
Yes.
But, the irony is that my dad's candy store was like kind of an adult gourmet candy store. So
Oh, nice.
they had a lot of like dark chocolate covered truffles and et cetera. And so
All the good stuff. And as a kid, you could not have any of it.
No, I couldn't have any of it. But on Fridays, he would bring home a bag for my brother and I, and we'd like a very small bag of candy for the week. But other than that, we weren't really allowed to eat candy in the store.
Oh. Well, not only expensive, there's something like gourmet, you just need a little bit of it to keep you happy. So,
Exactly. Everything in moderation.
yeah, so how do you, going back into high school when you were doing sports and everything, that's really draining you. How many times a day did you shoot?
Early on, it was I was taking 2 different types of insulin, and I would have 2 shots a day, 2 injections a day before breakfast and before dinner. So before I left, I'd have breakfast, go to school, go to practice, and then once it was dinner time, usually around anywhere from like 6 p.m., that range, 5 to 7 p.m., I would have dinner, and it was, mapped out in I had to adhere to a pretty strict schedule, eating and giving my injections. But later on, I moved to 3 shots a day, which is the same, like breakfast, dinner, and then 1 shot before I went to bed, so that overnight there was insulin in my body.
Yeah.
And for the last 15 years, I've had it for over 28 years, so for the last 14 plus years, I've been on the insulin pump. So instead of giving 2 or 3 shots a day, injections a day, I give 1 every 4 days.
You're monitoring throughout the day? You're checking your levels?
With the pump, you have to monitor, whereas with 3 shots a day, I would, 3 injections a day, I take my blood sugar 3 times a day. Usually now with the pump, I have to take it 5 times a day because it's a constant flow of insulin.
What have you been keeping your levels around? Can you keep it at least around 110, 120?
Well, that's the goal. When I went on the pump, they were trying to have me do it to 100.
Oh, 100? Wow.
To 100, but in my experience, when I tested my blood sugar and it was 100, I felt low. I felt like that was too low for me to set as a goal. So we adjusted it to 120.
You are involved with JDRF, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. You're a celebrity ambassador for them, aren't you?
Well, just being in the public eye and knowing when I was a kid that, I looked up to normal people, people without type 1 diabetes.
You're normal, but you have a little side thing. That's all. You're sidetracked a little bit.
Exactly.
That's it.
When I was a kid, there wasn't like people out there that I saw, oh, that person is a type 1 diabetic, and look, they're an actor or an athlete or whatever. I just knew that my grandmother had it. Old people had it.
Yes.
Then I learned it's different. They have a different type of, that's type 2 diabetes. And so being in the position I am, just on a TV show and getting interviewed a lot, I know I could talk about it because I have, 28 plus years of experience. And the fact that I have lived a normal life, just to relay that message of hope and optimism to kids, but also to their parents. And just a little anecdote. We went to an event last year in Ottawa. It was a lobbying event through JDRF Canada, and had kids from all over Canada to Ottawa. They were meeting their representatives and petitioning the government for more money to fund type 1 diabetes research. We met all these kids, and obviously their parents came with them, and it was a wonderful event. And my wife was able to meet other people that had, she has to deal with my diabetes just as much as I do.
Yes.
And in some cases with these kids are really young, and their parents are totally in charge. So, their parents wake them up in the middle of the night to test their blood sugar to make sure that the kids are all right when they're too young to moderate it on their own. And just to know and see in these parents' faces and eyes that to see me and the other people that were there to speaking or to say, I've lived with diabetes for 30 years, to see that in the future for their kids was really special. I think it's also cool to know that, I could be, like a kid, with diabetes could be on TV, or there's some professional athlete There's professional athletes with diabetes, which is
Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler, you know Jay Cutler? Oh, I'm sure. Okay, yeah. Plays football.
Yeah, for the Bears.
Yeah, type 1. It's amazing. So when you look up, if you're diabetic, type 1, and you see feeling tired sometimes, you look at people like yourself or Jay Cutler and say, you know what, by golly, these guys are doing it. They're living the normal life.
Yeah.
And they're just managing what they have to manage. So it is.
Yeah.
So it's always it's bright. The future is bright. It's just the mystery. I think it still surrounds diabetes, and people just don't understand it. But things like what you're doing, and I understand your brother Jeremy is helping organize a charity event to raise money for diabetes in LA.
Yeah, he's organizing an event coming up that is a celebrity date auction and
a celebrity date auction?
Yeah, in Hollywood. So that's his next. He's working with JDRF LA.
Ah, that sounds fun. Is he diabetic?
He's not diabetic, but he's a phys ed teacher, so he's had kids that have had type 1 diabetes, and from obviously his experience with me, he does stuff for the National MS Society.
Oh, wow. He really is giving.
So
that's terrific.
Both the National MS Society, I think that's what it's called, and the JDRF, he's active and
wow.
Yeah.
You come from a good family. There's people who understand the care and be compassionate and help other people. That's wonderful. Yeah. So when does this happen? You tell me, how does that work? So if I want to date a celebrity, let's say, I can't think of which girl out there I would like to date.
Well, I think
what do I pay money? How do I do this?
Well, right now they're still gathering, people that are going to participate.
Uh-huh.
So the idea of it is that sponsors will sponsor different, like let's say a restaurant sponsors a meal for a date. So different sponsors will sponsor fun dates. Celebrities and people will be auctioned off to go on these specific dates. And so sometimes it might not be the person that you're on the date with. It might be the actual event that you're able to do, like fly in a helicopter along.
Oh, that's fun too. That's fun.
You go up to Malibu for dinner, and then fly back down to Long Beach or whatever it is.
Oh my! So this is still in the works, then, right? There's nothing. It's not finished. This is still being.
Still in the works. They have tickets for sale online.
So for people who want to have an opportunity to go ahead and bid, is there a website or something? How do people get a chance to get involved with this?
There's tickets for sale, and you could either buy a ticket or just donate money to the JDRF or to the event itself at www.eventbrite.com.
Okay.
And look under Bid to Cure Diabetes. So Eventbrite is EVENTBRITE.com. And the Bid to Cure Diabetes is just the words.
Where do people follow you on Twitter?
Well, my Twitter handle is @AustinBasis.
Okay, and then for people who want to know more about a Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, they can go to jdrf.org and get some education out there so people know what they're dealing with, so they're not afraid of it.
Everything you need is on that site. There's also events, local events, walkathons, bikeathons, date auctions on that.
Thank you to Jeremy's help.
In case they want to participate, and if they don't have the money and they just want to volunteer, that's also...
volunteer is a great thing to do. If you don't have the money, to volunteer too. And I wish you all the best with the second season of Beauty and the Beast. It's on the CW TV channel, Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Let's hope for let's go for a third, but let's enjoy this second year, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Thank you very much, Austin, and continue monitoring. Keep those levels in check.
Thank you, I will.
Thank you, Austin. Bye-bye.
Bye.